Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Wolf Moon. This is the first full moon of 2021, and we are looking at a live view of it here on a 25-degree night. It is quite chilly where I live. A little bit of snow fell last night, but it is a beautifully clear evening here for some very nice images of the moon. I'm Michael Martin with Late Night Astronomy, and I appreciate those of you who have been waiting and those of you who are here to see this. If you are new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing, and it is wonderful to see all of you here tonight as we talk about astronomy and hang out for a little bit for our first full moon of the year. Is anybody out right now actually observing this or has been out tonight to observe it? A full moon is never the best time to observe the moon, but it can be enjoyable to get out and see, especially if you have a moon filter with you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here for the live streams. I was looking up a little bit earlier as to why they call it the wolf moon. There are actually a lot of different names that you'll find, some from the Farmer's Almanac, some that are used by some astronomy societies, but the wolf moon or the snow moon or the winter moon is typically what this first full moon is called of the year. Some say it has Native American heritage in terms of its name. Some say it's more of European descent. You can find a lot of different sources that'll kind of give you some news stories as to why the moon is called it. But either way, it is crystal clear, if not very cold, out here where I am. And this is quite a nice view of it. If you have any questions about astronomy or astrophotography or just want to talk and chat about what you have been out observing, please let me know what you all have been doing for astronomy. We try to do these live streams about once a month, unless there are other events that come up for astronomy. But I'm excited to spend some time with you all this evening as we get some more of you all logging in. One of the best things is to see the full moon kind of near the horizon. That kind of gives a different perspective of it when you're out observing. It definitely looks bigger when it's near the horizon. You can kind of prove that it is not physically bigger. It's not really an atmospheric effect. I think it's mainly just comparing it to other things, housetops, tree lines, buildings on the horizon. But it is a beautiful view right after sunset, just minutes after sunset when the full moon will rise above the horizon. It catches people off guard and is quite a treat. It is a very nice night. A lot of clear weather, a good number of clear nights, chilly nights obviously, but clear nights over here on the East Coast where I am of the United States. But a great time to get out and to observe. So I've got this imaging set up with just my iPhone connected to my telescope as a car goes by. I've got a cell phone adapter that's hooked up to a 25mm eyepiece. That's giving us roughly 48 times magnification view here of the full moon moving across the screen. I have two different lunar filters on this to try to make it less bright. The 8-inch telescope that I'm using will make it very bright, and there's no way to adjust exposure for the live settings on YouTube that I've been able to figure out, at least streaming from my phone, so there's no fine tuning with that at all. So if you're talking about it being saturated in this image, it's because of the lunar filters that I'm using. I've got a neutral density filter, two neutral density filters on it. Because of that, it's coming out how it looks right here. If I took these filters off, it would look like a spotlight shining into the YouTube video, and you wouldn't be able to make out any detail at all. But I try to have it be pretty much as natural as I can of a view for what you would see if you would go out and see it. And again, this is through an 8-inch telescope, about 48 times magnification, just streaming live right now from my phone to show you all and to spend some time with you all tonight. If you're new to the channel, it is great to have you here. This is Late Night Astronomy. Please consider liking and subscribing, as we've got more of you logging on and more of you liking the video that I appreciate as well. Appreciate the comments coming in from a number of you all as well. Great seeing some familiar names on here. If y'all have any questions, please let me know. Please feel free to answer them amongst yourselves if I see them pop up. Sometimes I get a few comments popping up at a time, so if I miss something that you say, I apologize about that. But the main thing I'm going to be observing over the next couple weeks is the Orion Nebula. I'm about to start a new series on astrophotography, going through the different steps of imaging it, what types of lenses you would want to use, what types of cameras, what types of processing equipment and software. I'm going to spend most of February and March on that for the YouTube channel, getting into more deep sky photography, because other than the moon right now, there is not much to look at in terms of the planets, at least ones that are easy to observe. It's a good question. So I've never done a Mars rotation video. I've done a video getting the rotation of Jupiter with its cloud belts and its moon moving around it. I spent about an hour and a half doing that one night, and I got a good little kind of motion back and forth, a motion picture of it slightly rotating. I've not done that with Mars, but stacking the photos to do rotations of particularly Jupiter and Mars are probably the best ones to do with that. That is a pretty, it's a difficult thing to do, but it is a rewarding thing to do as well. Appreciate those of you all joining who are finding this stream. We are looking at the Wolf Moon, the first of, I guess, 12 full moons that we'll have here in 21. This one, one of the coldest full moons for a number of us. It's about 24, 25 degrees out here with a light glaze of snow on the ground. But this is a beautiful view that I have. I've got the moon right above me. Just to the right of it, I can see the constellation Orion. Can see Orion's belt really well. Can't really see the Orion Nebula because of light pollution from where I live, but it is just a crystal clear night from every part of the sky. If y'all have been out to observe anything lately with the naked eye, with binoculars, with the telescope, please let us know in the chat what you have been doing for astronomy, what you have been getting out to see. As we've got more of you logging on, whether you're new to the channel or not, it is great to have you all here. Good question. What am I looking forward to in 2021? The main thing I'm looking forward to right now is imaging some deep sky objects. I just bought a new Samyang 135 millimeter f2 lens that is going to be, I think, incredible to use. From some friends of mine that are in the local astronomy club suggested it to take some images of it. There are not many big astronomy events that I can think of right off the top of my head. If y'all know any that I'm missing of, please let me know. Last year was a really big year. We had a couple comets come through. We had the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn to end out the year. 2021 is looking to be a little bit of a quieter year, but if y'all can think of any, anything with astronomy coming up over the next 12 months, please be sure to share that in the chat box going on right now. So I use the Ioptron SkyGuider Pro. I've had it for almost 2 years now, and I've had very good success with it. It's portable, it's durable, it's easy to use, at least in terms of how tracking mounts go. So that's the main one that I've been using right now. I run it on with a Canon DSLR and a 50 millimeter lens and a 135 millimeter lens. I have not tried any light pollution filters. Are there any that you all would recommend for visual observing or for imaging in particular? I'd probably be more interested in imaging at this point. planetary cam, right now I'm just using a DSLR. It's an unmodified DSLR, but I've been really happy with the results I've been getting from it. I don't have a specific imaging sensor right now for astrophotography. Those are still a little outside of my current budget. That's a great question. So if the transformers were to hide on the moon, as was shown perhaps very accurately in one of the Transformer movies, I guess it was Transformers on the moon, it is possible. I've seen no evidence that that was a part of the Apollo 11 mission, but that's a very good question. And if anyone else in the chat knows, please let me know. I do not see Optimus Prime right now, but maybe if I had a larger telescope, that would work out a little better. Looks like we've got someone here commenting from Serbia who said it was cloudy. Again, I've got a lot of things coming through the chat, so if I missed something, I apologize for that, but I see you all kind of answering questions right now as well. If you're just joining, this is Michael, and this is Late Night Astronomy, and we are looking at a live stream of the first full moon of 2021, known as the Wolf Moon, for whatever reason. It is 25 degrees and a little breezy, so I apologize if the wind is coming through, but it is wonderful spending some time with you all tonight as we are observing this. Space Pizza, excellent. I'm glad you're enjoying this, and that is a very nice username. I've got my iPhone hooked up to my telescope with an eyepiece adapter. You're looking at the moon right now at about 48 times magnification with 2 lunar filters on it to cut down on the glare of how bright this full moon is. The best time to view the moon is actually not when it's full. It's when it's a first quarter moon or younger or earlier, you could say. You're not going to get any depth of craters on the moon today because the sunlight is basically hitting it straight on, where when it's a first quarter moon or less, the sunlight's coming in from an angle, so you get long shadows of mountains and craters, and it almost looks like it's 3D. It has a lot more depth to it than the beautiful image we have tonight, but kind of a flat image of the lunar surface. Yeah, the terminator line of the first quarter of the moon, that's basically the point of the shadow where the I guess the sun rays aren't hitting is just is a very beautiful thing to see. Sometimes even if you're looking at the surface of the moon when it's at that level, you can actually make out different features of it kind of popping into view because the sunlight is slowly moving across it as it's getting closer and closer to a full moon. So if you're observing the moon when it's a first quarter, sometimes you'll see a mountaintop poke out of nowhere. Sometimes a crater will change shape. It's a pretty neat thing to see. That's a great question about the observatory in Puerto Rico. That was a very sad video to see of that thing collapsing. It's been there for quite a while. Does anyone know if they are hoping to rebuild that, if they're looking for any international funding for that? I'm not sure. Okay, there's an answer right there. Very good. Excellent description there of some of the craters and lunar features that you can see. Very nice. One thing I like trying to point out and notice is the disk of the moon being not perfectly sphere. It's hard to make out here, but if you really zoom in at higher magnifications, you can make out that it is mountain ranges and different things. It's not a perfect sphere in terms of the edges of it. If anyone's just joining in, this is Late Night Astronomy, and I appreciate you finding this live feed, whether you're a subscriber to this channel or first time coming around. If you could like the video and subscribe to this channel, I would really appreciate it. Got some new videos coming up in February and March, mainly dealing with deep sky astrophotography. But anytime there's a new comet coming through or any type of event in astronomy, I like to post a video about that just to give y'all a heads up so that we can all observe it and talk about it together. That's a good question. I've never thought if that was anything with the Dobsonian telescope mirror or not. It could be that. It could be a mixture of that with the lens and sensor that I'm using on this iPhone, but I'd have to look into that more. That's a good point. Has anyone had any new equipment purchases lately? Whether it's a telescope or an eyepiece or anything like that? Comet Leonard, I'll have to look that one up. I was on Cloudy Nights the other night looking at the solar system forums and hadn't seen that one yet. So Comet Leonard, I'll have to look that up. We were spoiled last year with comets. That was a great year for it with Neowise in particular in July. That was incredible. Good question. So yeah, so there are satellites up there a lot, and when you're imaging, they show up all the time on the image sensor. Looking through the telescope, you'll see satellites move across the field of view quite often. I've seen the International Space Station through the telescope on purpose, looking for that. Could make out the solar panels, the interior pods where they live. Last spring, I was able to capture a video of a plane flying in front of the moon, and it was kind of on accident. But it's a treat when that happens, and I would be wonderful if that happened right now. But planes in front of the moon are really cool to image and to see. But if you're just out stargazing for 30 minutes or more, you're bound to see a number of satellites just kind of slowly sail across the field of view as you're looking at different things. It's quite busy up there, for better or worse. Yeah, I've not seen the Starlink yet. I've tried to find on some websites when they fly over the East Coast so I could see them, but I have not been able to see or image those yet. But SpaceX and a lot of different organizations, for good reasons, in some cases, are putting up a lot of satellites right now. But the more that pollutes the nighttime sky, the more difficult it can be to image it in particular. For visual observing, it's not dramatic, but for imaging, if you're doing a 1, 2, 3 minute exposure of a part of the night sky, you can get streaks of satellites going through it quite a lot. Sometimes the imaging software can take it out, sometimes they can't. Yeah, so I have not seen Mercury. Deep Sky Hunter has a question about Mercury. I saw Mercury last summer, I believe, might have been spring, but I did not get out to see it. It was at its highest point above the horizon right after the sun sets, I believe January 16th, so very recently. That's a planet that's hard to catch. It pops up above the horizon at a decent view for maybe 3, 4, 5 days, and then it just circles right back around the sun and you miss it again. Have any of you all been out to see Mercury either through a telescope or with the naked eye? That's excellent. Yeah, so a crescent Mercury, yeah. That's an excellent view of it. Yeah, Mercury is quite a catch. It's a treat to see, and it goes through the phases like Venus does from our perspective of how we see it. So seeing a crescent Mercury, that's an excellent observation right there. That's a good catch. That's impressive taking pictures of Mercury. I've been able to image it once, but the did not come out that well. It was very low to the horizon, very hazy. But any images you can get of Mercury through any telescope is impressive. That's a tough one to get. All right, everybody. It has dropped down to about 24 degrees where I am right here. So I think I am going to call it a night for this live stream. I've got a little bit of imaging I'm going to do tonight. I'm testing out some features on a new lens before I use it officially to image the Orion Nebula for a video series I've got coming up. But going to go in and warm up for a few minutes and then come back out in about 20 minutes or so. But it is always wonderful to hang out with you all. We try to do these live streams about once a month. Again, if anything big happens in astronomy, especially with the planets or the moon, when I can live stream it, I like to do that as well. But it is very nice to see some familiar names here. I appreciate those of you that keep coming back to the live stream. And I've just been so blown away by the support the channel has had and how it's grown over the past year. And I really appreciate you all being here, and I appreciate getting to spend some time with you all. This is a great community we have here. We have had 20 to 30 people on and off the entire time, which is excellent for a Thursday night at 10 p.m. So thank you all so much. I'll leave this running for another minute or two, but I really appreciate all of your support. And as always, clear skies from Late Night Astronomy.